Attorney General says electing Mohammed as opposition leader would stain Guyana's parliament. Really? Really, Mr. Nandlall? Electing Azadin Mohammed as opposition leader is where he's going to stain Guyana's parliament? But then with the same mouth, in the same breath, the Minister of Legal Affairs also said that the Speaker of Parliament, Mr. Manzoor Nadir, is out of the country, and as soon as he comes back, Azadin Mohammed will be sworn in. But let's read some of the article, and then we'll talk about what we need to talk about. Attorney General says electing Mohammed as opposition leader would stain Guyana's parliament. As opposition political party pressed the Speaker of the National Assembly to convene a meeting for the election of an opposition leader, Attorney General Anil Nandlall is of the view that while the process will take place, he has real concerns over the likelihood of the Win Party leader Azadin Mohammed being elevated to that post while facing an extradition request. The 13th Parliament was convened in early November, and there has been calls since for the Speaker to move swiftly to call a meeting for the election of the Leader of the Opposition. The Leader of the Opposition is elected at a meeting of all the parliamentary opposition members. With Mr. Mohammed Win Party holding the most seats of the opposition side of the House, he is expected to be elected to the position of opposition leader. Mohammed and his father are facing an 11-count U.S. indictment on allegations of wire and mail fraud and money laundering and tax evasion claim. The extradition request by the U.S. is currently making its way through the local court. The Attorney General said he believes that due to the current legal troubles of the Win leader, the country risks being ridiculed internationally if he is to serve in the constitutional position of opposition leader. The stain and the international stigma that would attach to our parliamentary process, to the institution of Guyana by the fugitive offender not only sitting there but holding the post of opposition leader is far graver and would cause permanent damage, and that issue, I think, ought to feature with greater prominence in our public debate and pronouncements, the Attorney General stated. Mr. Nandlall, however, acknowledged that there is a delay in the appointment of the opposition leader, and he is confident that the process will take place when the Speaker returns from overseas. Great speech, Mr. Anil Nandlall. We love the loquacious proclivities from the many ministers of the government. These guys with their wit and their deep knowledge of the Constitution, conveniently when it serves them. Now, this is why you see I'm saying what I'm saying, and I do believe sometimes these messages, they're just revealed from the wrong lips. Because this same Attorney General, Mr. Anil Nandlall, he would have been in opposition, and their presidential candidate at the time, Dr. Mohamed Ifran Ali, the now president of Guyana, he would have been facing 19 fraud charges, Mr. Anil Nandlall. Your presidential candidate would have been facing 19 fraud charges, Mr. Anil Nandlall. And where was this energy? Where was your concern about the stain that it would place on our parliament, Mr. Nandlall? When your president today, the president of Guyana today, would have been facing 19 fraud charges and would have been on a ban from Canada. Where were these concerns at that point, Minister Nandlall? Let's speak briefly about Miss May Thomas. Where was your concern when Miss May Thomas' name would have been on the same sanction list? Why don't you speak about her at all? Why is it all about Mr. Azadin Mohammed? Why do you speak about Azadin and Nazir Mohammed only? Why don't you speak about the people at GRA that were implicated by Mr. Lal? Why don't you speak about the people at Soku? Why don't you speak about the people of the police force that would have been working at the time when this gold would have been exported so that Azadin Mohammed could have underdeclared the taxes and the amount of gold that he actually shipped out? Why don't you speak about these people? It's the convenience is what we have a problem with, Attorney General. This is what we have a problem with. Because even when your minister, Mr. Nigel Dharamlal, Mr. Nigel Darmlall would have been implicated in SA, where was the concern that it could stay in our parliament if your government would feature a minister that would have been accused of such a heinous crime on your roster? And then at the time you said nothing really, and then today you guys brought him back again. These sort of scandals amongst ministers and parliamentarians in other countries, this is a death sentence to your political career, but not in Guyana, not with one Guyana. And this is the partiality. This is why you see when the Honorable Minister and AG, Mr. Nandlall, speaks these words from his lips, it sounds very hypocritical to us. Miss Isabel Young would have been in this country and done a deep investigation into alleged corruption into your government. Your great Vice President, Dr. Bharat Jagdeo, one of the greatest, most long-running leaders in this country, would have been pinpointed and fingered by a one Sue Jerome in numerous counts of corruption. To which Mr. Sue Jerome said basically the Vice President was selling the country out. Once the Chinese come to Sue Jerome because even Mr. Bharat Jagdeo type like this, it's a done deal. The sellout of our country, the sellout of our patrimony. Where was this same energy? And your government never did an investigation. Miss Isabel Young received an award for our deep and professional undercover work. But yet still, the government of Guyana chose not to even investigate it. The Vice President just said that he was going to sue Sue Jerome. And when he finds him, he's going to bring him up on charges for those allegations. Where is Sue? Even up until today, we don't know where Sue is. But yet still, with all of the fraud charges that the president had, you weren't concerned about the stain on parliament at that time, Minister Nandlall. With all the SA charges that would have been leveled against Mr. Darmlall, you weren't concerned about the stain on parliament at that time. And with the deep corruption that Miss Isabel Young and Vice News discovered and unearthed with video evidence and sound evidence, audio evidence of alleged corruption with the Vice President, you guys didn't do any investigation and you're still not concerned about staying in the parliament. There's even a story about a pandit, I'm not even going to mention his name, but he was accused of SA on a 13-year-old girl, after which that 13-year-old girl committed suicide and ended her own life. And it would have been in the news that this guy would have been appointed as a junior minister under one of your ministries, Minister Anil Nandlall. Where is the concern about the stain on our parliament, Mr. Nandlall? So it is the partiality and it's the hypocrisy of many of these ministers is why we don't trust them. It's why we don't have the ears to hear what many of you guys say, because you say it today, but you were fine with the same thing when your presidential candidate, Ifran Ali, would have been accused of 19 fraud charges. And when your vice president would have been accused, not really accused, alleged of many counts of corruption by a Sue Jerome that's supposed to be sued but is still not sued. So, this is what we're saying. We're going to take our chances with Azadeen Mohammed. Because we've seen that many of the people in your government would have been accused of many criminalities and you took your chances on them, Minister Nandlall. So we're going to take our chances on Azadeen Mohammed. And we're going to live with this stain. Just like how you guys live with your stains, the Guyanese people will live with the stain and live with the shame, because we truly believe that Azadeen Mohammed is going to make a great difference in this country and have a great impact on the lives of these poor people who your government want to continue to keep poor and oppress, so they continue to be for sale to your government. This is the end of the malarkey age when the government can talk us to death. Today, we are judging you men based on your actions, and your actions proving that you have no problem once the people that are accused of the criminalities serve you. This is an Eternity Enterprise presentation. Y'all stay safe.